There are 24 hours in a day. Assuming you sleep 8 hours every day, you are left with 16 hours. If you are like the average person, you're working 9 to 5, so you clock in 8 hours every day, leaving you with 8 hours. Let's add up time spent cleaning, cooking, eating, showering, getting ready, and you're left with 6 hours. Now, according to data collected by Data Reporter on worldwide screen time, the average person spends 6 hours and 40 minutes on their screen. So this leaves you with 0 hours. You literally have no time left in your day to do other things that are more important to you. Literally, after you're done doing the necessary things in your day, like going to work, the rest of the time that you have left, you're wasting that time on the screen. And what does the average person do when they're on the screen? They're scrolling mindlessly on social media. Social media is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, distraction in people's lives nowadays. And time is your biggest commodity that you have. And if you do not know how to control your social media use, you could say that social media is the biggest thief of it. Before I continue with this video, I first want to point out that I'm not demonizing social media at all. I think that social media has its pros as well as its cons with it. And there's a lot of people out there whose lives change after knowing how to use social media. But let's be real, the majority of people who are on social media are consumers, not producers. And the majority of people who are constantly consuming mindlessly content on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, they're mindlessly scrolling, and they mostly experience the cons that come with social media and not the pros. There's studies that show that increased time on your phone, on social media specifically, is linked with increased symptoms of depression. And that's not all. Spending too much time on social media also has other negative effects that is known to waste time, disrupt sleep, decrease focus, increase anxiety, decrease productivity, shorten attention span, increase comparison of life, increase feelings of isolation, cause relationship problems, increased feeling of inadequacy, low self-esteem in other words, and wasting money on unnecessary things for the sake of impressing someone online. One of the biggest problems on that list is the amount of time you waste on social media, the amount of time we have in our day, and time being our biggest commodity. When we're wasting 4 hours daily or 5-6 hours daily on our screen, this can really affect our life in a negative way. And I can personally say that I know what it's like to go on your phone and literally spend hours scrolling mindlessly and repeating this same cycle every single day, feeling like crap at the end of the day. I'm not gonna lie, I used to be very addicted on social media. No, like seriously, I used to be addicted. Back in 2019 and 2020, social media was kind of like a 9 to 5 to me because I was clocking in at least 8 hours every single day. Every night, my day would end with me disrupting my sleep because I would scroll for mindlessly for hours, and every day my day would start in the afternoon because I would wake up so late because of the horrible sleep schedule that I had, because the night before I would not sleep at all because I was on my phone. And the first movement that I would do in my day when I would wake up is to, roll over and, stretch my arm down so I could grab my phone and I could start my scrolling session in the morning. And I'm not the only one that does this. Research shows that from ages 18 to 75, 98% of them use a phone. And 74% of those who do use their phone use it as soon as they wake up. During both morning and night, I would go through the same cycle of going on Instagram and then going back on Twitter and then going back on Instagram. And I would do the same cycle until I would get tired or I would just go and fall asleep. And I would do the same thing in the morning when I would wake up. I would spend like an hour or two just being on my phone, just doing nothing, wasting my life. During that time, I was wasting one of the most valuable things that I had and that all of us have, which is time. But of course, I was wasting it just like we all waste things that we don't perceive as valuable. But there was this one point that was like the turning point in my life. There was one Sunday where I got a notification, right? Because on my phone, if you guys have like Apple, I don't know if it works for other type of, brands as well, phone brands. But when it comes to Apple, if you have this setting enabled on your phone, you can get a notification every Sunday of what your average daily screen time was for that week. And so during that Sunday in the morning, I got this notification on my phone and it had told me that I had spent a daily average on my phone for 8 hours and 34 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, I looked at that notification for a while and I was like, it is crazy to think that I'm literally spending 8 hours on my phone. And the thing is, it's not like I'm, making money on my phone or doing anything, right? It's not like I'm producing content or anything like that. I'm not producing anything. I'm literally just being a consumer for 8 hours and 34 minutes daily average. And that to me was crazy. And so from that moment, I knew that something had to change. And then I came across dopamine detoxing. And I knew that I had to do a dopamine detox myself to get rid of this social media addiction that I had, because I needed to get back control of my life. And so before I ever went a 4-year off of social media, which is, what this video is about, I went off of social media 3 times before that. 2 times for 2 months each and 1 time for 1 month. And I noticed that it did help me out a lot because I gained control of my life. In those months where I wasn't on social media, I started to improve my habits and my day-to-day routine. I started to improve my sleep, which was one of the things that I was affecting negatively when I was on social media a lot. And I also started to create a daily routine where I wasn't involving any habits that has to do with me being on my phone. And slowly but surely, I started to gain control back of my time. Now, fast forward to last year in March, I noticed that when it came to Instagram and Twitter, I wasn't really posting anything. The only thing that I would do on those social medias was just scroll for like 10 to 20 minutes at the end of my day. And so I thought, since I'm not posting anything on there, since I'm not producing anything on those apps like I am on TalkTick, then I might as well just not be on there. So last year in March, I decided to go off of social media, specifically Instagram and Twitter. And the reason why I didn't leave TalkTick or YouTube is because obviously on YouTube, I'm uploading here, and on TalkTick, I was uploading every single day during that time. And when it came to TalkTick, it's not like I was scrolling on there, you know, for like 30 minutes every single day. That's one of the interesting things about me. I never really got addicted to TalkTick for some reason, which is actually crazy because it's probably one of the most addicting apps out there, because how you can, you know, see a clip for like 10 seconds and receive dopamine quick and then just go on to the next clip. The only thing I would do is just like, you know, edit the clip that I was gonna post and then just post it. And actually 4 months ago, I stopped posting on TalkTick, but I actually just came back. So I guess you could say that I was off of TalkTick as well for 3 to 4 months because I wasn't posting or scrolling there as well. And the crazy thing is, I didn't even actually plan to go off of social media for 4 years. It's not like I was sitting back and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go off of social media for like a year and just see what it is. I even mentioned in videos before that I didn't even know how long I was gonna be off of it. And then like a couple of weeks ago, I remember that I was off of social media for like a year already, and right now is May already, and so it has been over a year now. Now that I know what it's like to be off social media for a year, and also on top of that, before I ever took a year off, I went off of social media multiple times doing, you know, dopamine detoxes here and there. I know what it's like to disconnect from the digital world and to experience the full benefits of not being on your screen, you know, mindlessly scrolling 24/7. I just want to emphasize what I've experienced from not being on social media so that maybe you could go off of social media for like a month or like 2 weeks. If I was able to do it for a full year, and there's people out there who are living without it, I'm pretty sure that you can also, you know, even if you are addicted as hell to Instagram or Twitter, whatever it may be, TalkTick, you could go off for a month or so, and it's definitely possible. More time and increased productivity. This is one of the first things that you'll notice. Your productivity is going to skyrocket because now you have more time to do things that you actually want to do. After going through your whole day, specifically if you're, you know, working on a 9 to 5, you clock in 8 hours, and all the things that I just mentioned right in the beginning of the video, you're approximately like around 6-7 hours of free time, maybe 5 hours of free time in your day after you're done with all the necessary things. You most likely spend that time on your screen just mindlessly scrolling throughout the day. And so imagine being off of social media and now having those 5 hours, those 6 hours, you can work on that project, you can, you know, do your schoolwork. You could use this time now that you have to yourself to do other things like learning a new skill, working on a skill, picking up a new hobby that you've never tried before, or working on a hobby that you have right now, working on a side hustle, whatever it may be, or building the ideal future that you want to live. Before, when I was addicted to social media, my time was mostly spent on my phone, just mindlessly scrolling, and I'm not surprised that during that time I was also not productive and not fulfilled. Now my days are spent me mostly doing things that are gonna move the levers that I need to move in order to get closer to where I want to be in life, to accomplish the goals that I set for myself. All of us have goals, but the problem is that we are distracted. The time that we could use to work on our goals, we instead use it to scroll mindlessly to see what this famous celebrity is doing, and this is not going to help us at all in being productive or living the ideal future that we want to live. Because if you're not careful, social media can severely hurt your productivity and distract you from your goals. Better sleep. This one was a game changer for me because before, in the past, my sleep was horrendous. I would literally wake up at like 12 p.m 1 p.m because of this screen sucking addiction that I had. My sleep schedule was non-existent. This is one of the first areas that I wanted to improve on. Instead of going to sleep at 1 to 2 to 3 a.m, I started to go to sleep at 10:30 to 11 p.m. Instead of waking up at 12 p.m, I started to wake up at 6:30 to 7 a.m. Not only did I wake up and I felt good that I was waking up early, but I also felt good that in the morning I was getting tasks done, that by the time it was 1 p.m, when before I would wake up at that time, by the time it was 1 p.m, I was already finishing half of my tasks that I had to do for the day. And so I had this like good momentum start in my day. Sleep is important, and social media can ruin your sleep schedule and ruin the quality of your sleep if you do not know how to control it. Reduce stress and anxiety. Since I would spend a lot of time on my phone, it was no surprise that I would feel mostly stressed and anxious. First off, social media can be full of negativity, and you know this yourself. You can literally wake up and go scrolling and you can literally find out something negative happened, and boom, now your mood is ruined. A fight is happening, someone died, someone got killed, there's a drama between two people, a war is happening from some other country. It's kind of like the news nowadays, because whatever is happening around the world, whether it's negative, which is mostly negative, or positive, you're going to find out mostly about the negative things that are happening. And all of this drama, all of this negativity is only going to spread onto you, and you're going to feel negative yourself. And this would happen to me because I would wake up and, like I mentioned, I would go first on my phone. And when I would start scrolling, I would eventually end up seeing something negative. Something happened and this would mess with my mood. Now I wake up and the first thing that I do when I wake up is I express express gratitude and I pray. And this puts me in a good mood. This puts me with the good momentum that I need to once I wake up and get out of my bed, I feel good. And not only that, but scrolling mindlessly for a long time will leave you with information overload. Your brain is going to be fried because of how much information you're constantly consuming. And think about it, the average person on a daily basis is already stressed from the day-to-day tasks that they got to do. And social media only makes it worse, especially if you are someone who's heavily addicted to scrolling. Less distraction. Now, this is connected to being more productive, but the reason why I wanted to make this its own benefit is because one less distraction, especially one huge distraction that you do not have in your life, like social media, can put you in the present moment a lot better. For instance, there was a fight recently on a boxing fight, right? Absolutely not like a real, like, well, boxing is a real fight, but you guys know what I mean, right? There was a boxing fight last Saturday, and my uncle came over, and it was me, my uncle, my pops, and we were just watching the fight. And not once throughout this whole night that we were watching the fight, it was a good boxing matches, by the way, not once did I go on my phone and like scroll mindlessly for like 10 minutes because I didn't have that distraction. I was in the present moment throughout the entire time, and it was like it was one of the best times because I'm watching the fight with my family members and I'm just enjoying this time being present. And my old self would have never been in the present moment because my old self would have been on my phone constantly whenever I would have gotten one symptom of boredom. Not only does it help you with being present in, family time or relationship time, whatever it may be, but it also helps you with being able to do deep work. Nowadays, people are more distracted than ever and they cannot control their focus. And it is no wonder why people lack productivity nowadays, because they cannot seem to focus even for like 30 minutes on a single task that they have right in front of them. I used to be this person where I was extremely unproductive because I was spending time, here and there, going on my phone, checking what's up. 5 minutes later, going on my phone again, checking what's up, as if something new was happening, when in reality, nothing new is happening. My brain constantly wanted this dopamine hit every time. Getting off of social media helped me regain my focus to get important tasks done in my day. The ability to think long term. Many studies have shown that being able to think long term and being able to delay gratification is one of the biggest predictors of success. And one of the most popular ones is the marshmallow test, which I'm pretty sure you've heard about before. There was an experiment done with a group of kids where they were asked to sit down with a marshmallow in front of them, and they were told that they had two options. They either eat the marshmallow now, or they wait around 20-15 minutes and receive two more marshmallows. This study showed that the children who were able to delay gratification and wait for the larger reward exhibited better outcomes in various areas of their life later on. Follow-up studies conducted years later found that the children who had shown greater self-control during the marshmallow test tended to have higher SAT scores, better academic performance, healthier body mass indexes, and more successful careers as adults compared to those who had shown less self-control. Being able to delay gratification is one of the major signs of the success type of person. Now, you're probably wondering, how does this relate to social media? Well, social media nowadays is conditioning specifically young people that you can succeed very quick. And so a lot of people nowadays, they're not thinking long term. They want to be able to succeed. They want to be able, to reach $100 million in like a couple of months, because you see on social media someone else succeeding. You see them flaunting their success, their material wealth. You think that that person was able to do that in a couple of months, when in reality, any type of progress that you want to make in life, any major progress that you want to make in life, is going to take time. But social media makes it seem as if, oh no, you could do it in a couple of months. You can go from broke to a millionaire in the end of the year, when in reality, it takes time to do those things. And social media also conditions your brain to want quick dopamine. Since social media easily gives you a dose of quick dopamine, your brain is going to now get conditioned to want more of this type of dopamine. This is why waking up early in the morning and the first thing that you do is going on social media is one of the baddest things that you can do, because you're now conditioning your brain to want this form of dopamine throughout your day. So now you're going to find it way more difficult to study. You're going to find it way more difficult to focus on other tasks that need your focus, because no, your brain wants the quick dopamine that you gave it to it first thing in the morning. Instead of, doing your work, you're going to want to watch TV. You're going to want to play video games. You're going to want to scroll more on social media, because the first thing that you did in your day was give your brain the quick dopamine. And this all impairs your ability to think long term. If delaying gratification is one of the major keys to success, and social media can impair your ability to think long term, then you need to be able to control your social media use so that it doesn't affect your ability to think long term and delay gratification. It gives you the courage to say, F it. A lot of people don't start projects in their life. They don't, create goals that they want to accomplish in their life because of the fear of criticism. Napoleon Hill said in his book, Think and Grow Rich, and in his other book, Outwitting the Devil, fear of criticism is one of the 6 major fears that stops people from living a happy, fulfilled life. Now, I have an idea. What if you were to go ghost and you start working on that idea that you've been wanting to work on for a long time? What if you just go all in on your goals once and for all. Going off of social media can help give you that courage that you need to start doing the things that you've been putting off because of the fear of criticism that you have. Because if you go on social media, nobody's gonna know what you're doing because you're not posting stories. Nobody can, comment or DM you like, oh, you really doing this thing. Like nobody can laugh at you. Nobody can do anything like that because you're not on social media. You went ghost. And so you could go all in on that goal that you have and not fear the criticism that you have been letting stop you from, starting that goal in the first place. But eventually though, you're going to end up receiving criticism. And so you're going to have to get used to it. But in the beginning, the first thing that you want to do is start. And a lot of people don't start because of fear of criticism. Once you have momentum, it is a lot more easier to ignore negative criticism. You gain clarity on your ideal self-image. Social media can easily give you the perception of perfect individuals. And so you go on social media and you see the people who you believe is perfect when in reality behind the scenes they're not perfect, because none of us are perfect. But you think that those people are perfect. You think that they're living perfect lives. You think that they have no problems with their life. And so you start to think that there's something wrong with you. And so this is why you see a lot of people who are living not lives that they want to live, but lives that social media believes is ideal to live. And this is why so many people are so miserable nowadays, because people are living up to an image that social media believes to be ideal, and it's not what they believe to be ideal. After spending so much time on social media, I now know what self-image I want to create. And it is not based on what social media believes is ideal, but it's based on what I believe is ideal. And you only get to this point where you create a self-image that you believe is ideal when you stop letting all the inputs go in your brain. You stop letting yourself get distracted. You stop, forming beliefs and self-images based on what you think social media thinks is right. And you start actually doing introspection, and you start creating the ideal self-image that you want to create for your own self. That's going to help you be more happier and fulfilled. You gain clarity on your life. Do accurate self-analysis. Are you chasing your own goals, or are you chasing someone else's goals? You'd be surprised to know how many people on social media are chasing a goal that's not even theirs, because based on social media, they think that this is the ideal goal to chase. And it is, again, no wonder why so many people are depressed and miserable nowadays. Going off of social media helped me create my own goals in my life. Since I was not being distracted 24/7 anymore, I was able to do introspection and, analyze what it is that I actually want to do in my life and what it is that I don't want to do. Because the last thing that you want to do is go down a road and then go so deep in down the road and then realize that this was not the road that you wanted to take in the first place. Create your own goals. Stop chasing other people's goals. Stop chasing a goal that is trending on social media right now, and start chasing your own goals so that you don't fall to being miserable and depressed. You become grateful. I used to ignore the biggest blessings that I had in my life because I would go on my phone and I would see other people have things that I didn't have, and I would only focus on the things that I didn't have and not on the things that I did have. I barely expressed gratitude. Like seriously, I would wake up and I wouldn't do what I do now, which is express gratitude and pray. I would just wake up and go on my phone. Now, there's nothing wrong with people being on social media and posting, their cars, their houses, their accomplishments that they're getting. I think that's nice. I actually grab inspiration from that now. But if you're not careful, you can easily compare your life to theirs, and you're gonna forget about the blessings that you already have right now. And if you have the basic needs like food, water, clothes, a place to live, a good health, you're already blessed. All the extra things that come, like, a nice car or accomplishments that you do in your life, all those things are extra things that are already blessings. But you being alive and healthy and having the basic needs are already blessings in themselves, because there's people out there who do not have 2 or 3 of those blessings that you have right now. The fact that you have these basic things, you should be grateful for that. And social media can easily make it seem like, oh no, you shouldn't be grateful for that. You don't have a car, you don't have an expensive house, you don't have, this milestone that you haven't achieved. And so because of that, you shouldn't be grateful. You should focus on what you don't have. This mentality can easily put you in a downward spiral. It can put you in a negative mood, and you will easily miss the blessings that you already have. And one of the things that I believe is that if you are not grateful for what you have right now, then you won't be grateful for what you have later on. And also, I don't think that God will bless you with more things if you are not already grateful for the blessings that he has given you up until this point. Improved mental health overall. And all of this adds on just to overall good mental health. Today, more than ever, we have a mental health crisis. And I'm not saying that social media, like I said, is bad, but if you do not know how to control it, if you do not know how to use it, then you are going to end up suffering the negative consequences that come from being on your phone excessively. Young people are comparing their lives at such a high rate. Young people are experiencing the most depression nowadays, the most anxiety, and they're also, offering themselves the most right now. And you have 3 options when it comes to distractions. You can either create systems and habits that will help you keep your focus, or you can eliminate the distraction altogether, or you can stay vulnerable and let anything distract you from what's important in the present moment. And the good part about this is that you do not have to quit social media just like I did in order to experience the benefits that I experienced. According to a study that was published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology, if you use social social media for 30 minutes or less per day, you can significantly reduce the depression and loneliness symptoms. And I can attest to this because before I ever went off of social media for a full year, I was still on social media, but I would just spend like around 10 to 20 minutes daily, and I still felt the benefits that I just explained in this entire video. But in order to get to that point where I was able to spend 10 to 20 minutes daily and not spend an hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, I had to go ghost in order to get to that point. What I'm about to suggest right now will not really apply much to the person who already has a lot of control over the social media, or for someone who's building a personal brand and you cannot get out of social media because you have to post there constantly. But if you're like the average person who is not building a personal brand and you're not producing content and you also have a social media addiction, I have one suggestion for you. Try to go on a social media detox for an entire month. And if you want to, go to the extreme, just like I did, try to go off of social media for a full year and see what happens. You're not going to miss out on anything because you're not producing content anyways. And so in reality, all you're doing is consuming and not getting any benefit from it. I used to have that same excuse. I'm going to miss out. I'm going to miss out on my friends, or I'm going to miss out on this. I'm going to tell you right now, after going off social media for so long, you're not going to miss out on anything. I promise you. Your life is going to be perfectly fine. It's going to be way more better. Quitting is very simple. Deactivate your social medias for the time that you plan to be off and then see what happens. But anyways, that's all I got to say. I'm out.